All right, fifth graders, this is Mr. Combs here, and I'm going to be going over our first day of math for this week of May 4th, okay? And it's going to be on the Standard 5 NBT 1, which is a bunch of stuff about place value. So first things first, without any further ado, we are going to get going on question number 1. So question number 1. In the number 7,763, what is the difference between the 7 and the thousands place and the column to its right? So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out a place value chart. Okay, I'm going to include my decimal point. And then here we're going to have our tenths. Here we're going to have our hundredths. Okay, and then we're going to have our ones, our tens, our hundreds, and then our thousands. Okay, all right. So for this one, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my number into my place value chart. So I have 7,763, and it's asking me about the difference between the 7 and the thousands place, and then the column to its right, which is the 7 and the hundreds place. So the first thing I'm going to think about is what each one of these values actually represents. And I'm going to represent this up here. So I know that the 7 in the thousands place is equal to 7,000. I know that the 7 in the hundreds place is equal to 700. Okay? So what I want to think about is how would I get from 700 to 7,000? So when I'm thinking about this, I can do 700 times blank is equal to 7,000. Using my knowledge of multiples of 10 and powers of 10, okay, I know that if I multiply 700 times 10, it would give me 7,000. When I move up one place value, that is 10 times bigger. So if I was to write this out in a complete sentence, I would say that the 7 in the thousands place, the 7 in the thousands is 10 times bigger than the column to its right. Okay. All right. So the 7 in the thousands is 10 times bigger than the column to its right. I know that because the value of the column to its right was 700. The value of the 7 in the thousands is 7,000. 7,000 is 10 times bigger than 700. So moving right along, we're going to do number 2. It's kind of the same idea, except now we're working with decimal numbers. So in the number 25 and 56 hundredths, what is the difference between the 5 and the tenths place, okay, and its column to its left, okay? So same thing, okay? I'm going to draw out my place value chart. I'm going to represent my tenths, then I'm going to represent my hundredths, okay? Now I'm going to do my ones, and then my tens. And I'm only going to have to go up a little bit further to my hundreds, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the number 25 and 56 hundredths into my place value chart. So 25 and 56 hundredths. So it's asking what the difference between the 5 and the tenths place and the column to its left. Okay, so I know that the 5 in the tenths place is equal to 5 tenths, and I know that the 5 in the ones place is equal to 5 ones. So thinking about how they are different, okay, they have the same digit, okay, but they have different values. For that 5 to be equal to 5 tenths, it would have to be 10 times the opposite direction, or 10 times smaller. So if I was to write this out, I would say the 5 in the tenths place is 10 times smaller. That is how they are different, okay? That could be one way we could interpret this. Another way that I can interpret this is how they are different, meaning subtraction. So if I was to take 5 ones and subtract 5 tenths, okay, I would set it up just like that, get my standard algorithm. I'm going to regroup from that 5, turn it into a 4. 10 minus 5 gives me 5. Decimal point drops right down, 4.5. So they could also have a difference of 4.5 or 4.5. So moving right along, you're going to look at this next one. What number is 10 times greater than 6,327 and 5/10? So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out my place value chart. Okay, so I'm going to have my decimal point, I have my tenths, I'm going to have my hundredths. Okay, right there I'm going to have my ones, my tens, my hundreds, and then my thousands, and then I'm going to have my 10,000s. Okay, and I'm going to split this guy right down the middle, so I have the opportunity to write two numbers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my original number into my place value chart. So that original number is 6,327 and 5/10. Okay, and so what I'm looking at now is I'm seeing what direction I'm going to go. If I'm getting bigger or smaller, 10 times greater, that tells me it's getting bigger. Okay, so I know that when I move up a place value, I'm getting 10 times larger. So what I'm going to do now is, this is a throwback to kind of the beginning of the year. Okay, I'm going to leave my decimal point right there, and I'm going to move each one of these numbers just with an arrow up one place value. All right, okay, and so each one of those numbers is now 10 times larger, okay, and so the number that is 10 times greater than 6,327 and 5/10 is going to be 63,275. And so I would write this out. The number that is 10 times greater is 63,275. And that's all we got to do for that one. All right. Okay. Next one, question number 4. What number is 1/10 as much as 425? 1/10 as much as 425. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to put this into a place value chart. Okay, I'm going to put my decimal point, make room for my tenths, make room for my hundredths. Okay, so I'm going to have my ones, my tens, and then my hundreds. Okay, so I'm going to have 425. Okay, so if I'm thinking about a number that's 1/10 as much as 425, that means I'm going to be going one place value smaller for each one of these digits. We're getting 10 times smaller for each one of these digits. So I'm going to draw a line for my new number. I'm going to put in my decimal point, and I'm going to take that 5. He's going to shoot from that 1 place to my tenths place. That 2, he's going to go on a trip down to the ones place. Okay, and then that 4, also going on a little trip. okay, down to my tens place, okay? So the number that is 1/10 as much as 425 is 42 and 5/10. 42 and 5/10 is 1/10 of 425. All right, and that is all I got for you guys on this one. Okay, I'll pull my paper down and I'll lift my iPad up. You can pause the video here so you can be sure you get all your work down. I appreciate you all, and I hope you had a good time doing some place value work today.